G'day guys and welcome to the Centre Bounce for this, my team review of how I did in round 3 of Supercoach this year. Stay tuned. Yes guys, round 3 has come and gone and it wasn't an amazing one for me. Let's just get right into it. I scored 1879 this week, couldn't crack 1900. It is what it is. Am I crying about it? No, I'm not. Okay, I'm not. Managed to somehow climb up a little bit in the ranks. I'm now within just outside the top 40k. Like we've said, it's a long season. It's a trading game. And like I did last year, started slow, give everybody a little bit of a head start because you watch out. We're going to come back and we're going to come back strongly. Of that, I've got no doubt in my mind. Bit like the Bombers, we come back strong. So yeah, 1879. It wasn't a wonderful score by any stretch of the imagination this week. This is sort of how my team was set up coming into the week. I was looping to see if I could get a good score out of Williams. He scored me a 70. I was happy to take it, but I've just seemed to always get the Howes and Haw one wrong every single time. And now there's news apparently that Haw is going to be out for 3 to 4 weeks with a thumb or finger appendage problem. So he's going to be out for us as well. So now we've got both Reid and Haw both dead on our bench. Wonderful, wonderful. The backline, the gift that keeps on giving. But yeah, day cost 112, a very unconvincing 112. If you faded him to start the year, then well done to you. Kudos. Fading him was the right call. He is just going to continue to drop in price. He's only around 601,000 with a break even of 178. So if you faded Nick Dacos, you were among the rare. You were in that minority crowd, then well done. Well done to you for sticking true to yourself. 112. Look, we take it. Bad game, and he still scored a 112. We absolutely take it. No concerns there. Well, there are some concerns, but the scoring is making up for it. He's giving us 108 average, so it is what it is. That's top 6. Is it worth the price that we paid up from at the start? No, it's not. But hey, he's top 6. Dan Houston with 105. He just seems to be giving me this fairly stable low 100 scores every week, which I think will be enough. We'll have the occasional spike game where he goes bananas, but if this is sort of what his floor looks like every week, really having that consistency, a lot of early games at home was part of the reason why I like to have him, and he's been okay for me as a selection. Obviously, not enough at that price point, as you know, you can tell he's already sort of dropped in price a bit. So he was almost a fair price to pay for him. Maybe if not just a little bit overs, but hey, he's given me okay scores. And Sheasel, the guy that I traded in, should have really started him, to be honest. But hey, it is what it is. We brought him in, we corrected ASAP, and we've been enjoying some good scores out of him, another 128. So he seems to be really, really reliable. He's a jet, an accumulator who uses the ball really well. Obviously, I don't have Luke Ryan or Hayden Young. These are the 2 Freo boys. I ended up getting Sarong last week, who did really well for me. But yes, I don't have any of those 2 Freo defenders who did pop off incredibly well. And, you know, someone having a Luke Ryan instead of a Dan Houston, I think would have been substantially better. There's no doubt about it, right? But hey, swings and roundabouts, it is what it is. Massimo D'Ambrosio, 68. He had a really bad last quarter. His role changed a lot. Hopefully, he isn't given that role moving forward. I know the Hawks didn't have a wonderful start to the season. I just really hope that in the hope of trying to spark quicker ball movement, in the hope of trying to change things up, Massimo's role ends up changing as well. I really don't want that to happen, but he'll definitely continue to make money for us now, at least in the short term. How's a 26? Like, you just don't trust any of these backline rookies. You just really don't. It's really sad, but this is where we find ourselves. I think it's clear to me that Had we stacked the back line with at least 4 and like a Masson and Williams, you'd be absolutely flying at this point. And then maybe have like a Gipkiss and a Howes who would have gone 90 odd after round 0. And if you had Gipkiss Howes here, and then you had 4 premiums plus Masson Williams, that would have definitely been the most ideal setup. And then you wouldn't be fielding these crappy scores on field. Of course, Mass, it's really hard to go with Mass over the preseason. So I guess you can say that's just the hindsight talking. But I definitely knew that Mass was an option, which is why I had left enough money going into round 1 in case if Williams went down that I could go to Massimo. What I probably should have done was I probably should have just had both of them right from the start, as opposed to trying to have one of them. But again, no los dos, right? So it is what it is. We learn, we take it, and we learn. Bontempelli 110. I didn't go with him as the captain. I knew it was going to be a very popular captaincy option this week, playing against the Eagles, but there was just enough whispers and talks and rumors and him not training and concerns about that ankle that had me a bit off him, and I was a lot more bullish on Tim English. Every ruckman is going really well against the Eagles, and so I really wanted to back in Tim English. Was hoping for at least a 150 score, so to get a 124. Look, he's averaging 127, whichever way you cut it is great. He's averaging more than English, more than Bontempelli. But when you've got someone else that is very widely owned in this spot, who's going 177, then it's obviously not very good, is it? So it's a little bit disappointing. The return on investment has not been there. And yeah, you would have seen it in the stream yesterday. I was a little bit unhappy, obviously, that I've seen what I've seen when it came to Gorn. I was scared to go ahead with him, but hey, it is what it is. I know I've said that multiple times, but what else can I say? We take it and we move. So Wrong, very glad I got him in, as opposed to Jordan Dawson, who absolutely started like a house on fire and then just ended up burning down like a house on fire. So maybe that house on fire analogy really does work for Dawson. Just disappears, and the ball that he's getting is under pressure, and it's almost like opposition teams know that they need his ball use, and so they put a lot of attention into him. I feel, and he's their captain, so it makes sense. Try and shut down the captain. You go a long way to winning, and would you look at that? They still haven't won a game yet. So if you have Dawson, you're in that really unfortunate situation like I was, but I traded him out for full value. If you still have him, it's almost like there's 2 schools of thought. Either you just trade him out now before he continues dropping money, or you hold on to him. And he's already lost you money. You picked him for a reason. He's not going to be shit with the ball in hand forever. And we sort of saw that with Hayden Young this week. So, as well as with Nick Martin. So if you were to hold Dawson, I don't think that's a wrong move either, personally. But then obviously you got Zach Butters, who was our VC, only went the 98. Looked to be coming back really strongly in the last quarter, but then he just disappeared. He just couldn't maintain the rage, and Melbourne were very strong, and they genuinely won that midfield battle against Port Adelaide. So there's going to be no Wines this week. I think Juan Francis will be back. So, but no Wines this week against my boys, the Dons. And I'm still willing to roll the dice and actually back in Zach Butters as a VC option against us. We do tend to give up some scores. Despite us being the number 1 clearance team in the comp, we do see regularly that there are mids that are absolutely popping off against us. So, plus, of course, Livingston's playing against the Swans pretty early on, which means I can't use Bont or English as captaincy options in that game as loopholes. The only loophole I've got is Livingston and Reed and Hoare. I've got 3 dead rookies, and all of them play in like the first 4 games. It is a little bit unfortunate, but hey, we live, I suppose, and we move. Flanders is back this week. Thank God. I can't wait for him to come back. Jordan of the 65. It's not a very good score. the reason why I sort of faded him, thinking that he wouldn't go that much better than Darcy Wilson, and ended up trading him in anyway. He's got a break even of 44, and then he goes on his bye. So it's not. Yes, I know he's playing against the Eagles, and the Eagles do give up a lot of points, but he is going to have his bye next week. And I think you would imagine that at that point, people are looking to trade him anyway. If he goes and scores his projected 70, he'll go up 11K. Roberts with a 98. Oh, love this guy. Love him to bits. I honestly reckon I might just keep this guy for the whole season at this point. Like, if he's dishing me out 90s every week, I've definitely got bigger fish to fry. McKercher with a 74. He had a great game against the Blues. They were absolutely killed. And it was a Good Friday, so very fitting that North Melbourne were absolutely crucified by the umpires on that day as well. And Riley Sanders with the 77, doing decently well for us as well. So yeah, Tom Green, get back on the field, please, Tom Green. I've missed you so much, bro. I've missed you so much. English with a 124. It's annoying. He just seems to be a very safe 120 type player. But for the price that you paid for him, I was paying up to try and get that massive ceiling, but it looks like that ceiling is going to be curtailed. It's going to be really limited now. His floor is still going to be high, but his ceiling will also be pretty low as well. So he's going to give us a lot of reliable, consistent scores, but nothing crazy because he's just not getting as many, ruck contests as previously. He's only getting like 60% sharing with Sam Darcy, which is really tough. It sucks. It's almost 50-50, you know what I mean? And that's not what I spent all that money for English. So it's a little bit unfortunate. Bevo continues to stuff us around, doesn't he? Grundy with a 114. I definitely anticipated that he would bounce back this week against the Tigers, which is why I wasn't in a particular rush to trade him out. Yes, he's actually dropped in price a little bit, but his break-even is 72 this week, and he's up against West Coast. So you would anticipate that he can go 115 and go back up another $20,000 odd. So fingers crossed. If he does that, then obviously he would have made around 34,000 essentially. Dollars, which is $34,000, which is not great. Well, it's not what we hoped to see from Brodie Grundy, but hey, it is what it is. Heaney with a 148. If you didn't start this guy, he is averaging 139. Does that say 139? Yes, it does. He's averaging 139, guys. Isaac mother flippin' Heaney is averaging 139. Yeah, that's pretty crazy. Pretty crazy. If he goes 147, which is ridiculous. Why is Isaac Heaney projected to go 147? Well, he's got 148 last week, and he's playing West Coast. Another 39K essentially on the cards. He's insane. Just insanity. Absolute insanity. So yeah, very happy I own him. If you don't have him now, don't trade him in now. That ship has long sailed. Tom Powell. He was a trade in this week, and he did well. 92 against a very strong midfield in Carlton. Very impressive. He's still averaging over 100. He's up against Brisbane this week. Reckon he can still do well. His break-even is still -6. I'm personally hoping that he's going to be a keeper for me in that forward line, as long as he continues to have that midfield role, which it looks like he will, that defensive midfield, that Will Setterfield type of player. And you know me, I love me some Will Setter goat. So yeah, Tom Powell, stay in the side. Well done, son. Billings, you're a piece of shit. I can't believe him. I can't believe it. Break even of 64. Mate, he's going to go 100 this week. Just you watch, because I'm trading this bastard out ASAP. Harley Reid with a 54. Look, he's a good player. He is a good player. Don't get me wrong. But in terms of Supercoach selection, it's just not giving it to us. An average of 65 for someone who started out over 200. It's not a good return on your investment. You picked him because he obviously is a wonderful talent, and you've picked him because he's going to have impeccable job security. And unfortunately, the scoring power just has not been there at all. So, Buku Kamis is one that I'm a lot happier with than Harley Reid. He's already gone up 58k and negative 43 break even. He had a very good game. I didn't expect him to score 82 playing against the Eagles. I thought they were going to demolish him and that he's not going to see much of it. But no, he's done very well. And this 82 now is going to be sitting in his price cycle for the next couple of weeks. And, he only scored the 21 against the, wrong thing. 51 against Melbourne. Then he scored a 65. So he's been getting better week on week, which is obviously really important for me to see. And then he's got Geelong now at Adelaide Oval. Geelong's obviously a very strong forward line. So not entirely sure how good Buku Kamis is going to do against them. I don't anticipate he will do very well. But hey, your break-even's low. Keep it up, son. Keep making me money. And you're going to get defensive DPP, which, as you can tell, is going to be clutch. Absolutely clutch for me, because his backline ain't doing nothing for at least the next 3 to 4 weeks. Darcy Wilson, so disappointing. You're a much better player than that. You really are. He was burned by his teammates a few times, but I reckon he's good enough to bounce back this week against Richmond. And his break even is still only 11. Now, that 25 is going to suck, because that 25 is going to be in his price cycle for the next couple of weeks. But we're really hoping for a very strong bounce back game against Richmond this week. Otherwise, it's not looking good, because the Giants the following week, they're going to be tough to score against. So please, Darcy, please, need you to really pump out a good score for me this week. Need your teammates to look up and find you. And both Cadman and Sexton are back in this week. So, what are we doing this week? Well, sort of mentioned that Billings can piss off, right? Billings can absolutely get stuffed. And someone that we absolutely need to get before he goes away and becomes really out of price is Ollie Dempsey. Liked him all preseason. And I liked him in round one, but because of what we saw from Massimo, I took him out of the team so I could have enough money to get Massimo in for Gibkiss. Well, that was a mistake. Ollie Dempsey, not only is he a good cash cow, he is a terrific on-field option as well. Playing as a winger, as well as he's just so clean. He's so good with the football. I think he is absolutely best 22. Don't see a reason why he would lose his spot. The way he's playing is just simply beautiful. So yes, Dempsey's gone. Now there is a player on the bubble, and that is Sam Darcy from the Western Bulldogs. His break even is really low, negative 92. And that's courtesy of that big score that he had last week, where he won 109, if you don't mind. Double what happened this week. And you would have imagined that against West Coast, that he would do even better. But the love was shared around a lot when it comes to the goals being kicked. And he was almost used as a link-up player. The marks he was taking against the Bulldogs, he was marking them just outside forward 50, and then he would lower the eyes and hit up other players on a lead. So he's so good overhead when the ball's up in the air. He's a great judge of the flight of the ball. And I have, of course, checked the weather in Adelaide this week, and it's all clear, all fine, all dandy, which means it's not slippery, which hopefully means Sam Darcy can take some more marks. So he's a forward. He has to come in. Who are we trading out to get him in? Sort of kind of giving you a hint of who it is. Someone who isn't giving me good scores for the price, and it's Harley Reid. This could come to bite me, but personally, I just don't think he's accumulating enough. He's not much of an accumulator to hurt me. So He goes out, frees up a lot of money to get Sam Darcy in, and I'm looking to improve again the strength of my midfield. I don't want to have. I want to start plugging away and getting more primo mids in my midfield sooner rather than later. Because as I would have mentioned in the stream during last night, your big scores more often than not are going to come from your midfield. As long as you can have these top guns in the mids, presenting you with incredible value, then you can't go past them. Now, James Jordan, I know you got the Eagles this week and you could have a good score, but you're gonna have your bye afterwards. And if he does score really well, then I'm sure I can totally see a situation where a lot of people are going to be too gun-shy and don't want to trade him out because he still has a lower break even. But for me, I just want to get my team upgraded sooner rather than later, especially in the midfield. And there's a guy in there. There's obviously a few guys, but there is one guy in particular that I really enjoyed watching his game on the weekend, and he looks back to his best. It is Jack Steele. I think this is going to be a very popular trade-in option for many people. I know in the stream last night we had a lot of people asking us about Jack Steele, if they should trade him in over someone like a Tuke Miller, and I said yes, especially in relation to the matchup that he's got this week against the Richmond Tigers, who are notorious for giving up a lot of points to inside mids. So those are the trades. And so our midfield is looking a lot better. So your Flanders can come back here where he belongs into my forward line as a top 6 Uber premium in the forward line. And then Tom Green can come on here onto the field. And the midfield now is looking really good. I've got 5 Uber premiums in the mids and then the 3 gun trio rooks. So that's the setup that I've got there. I'm really happy about that. And what I'm really happy with also is the fact that I've got this money in the bank, which I can then put onto a Brody Grundy next week when he goes into his bye. Hopefully that's enough for me to be able to put that onto him to maybe get a Max Gawn, for example. I know Max Gawn's going to have his bye the following week, which really sucks, but he's absolutely torching me. Otherwise, if he gets out of reach and Rowan Marshall drops in price even more, I might just go with Rowan Marshall at that spot. But ultimately, a really important thing that we need to keep in mind is that there's someone by the name of Zach Merritt who you're going to need to have in your side sooner rather than later. From round 6 onwards, you got to clock. Essentially, every round that you miss after that without Zach Merritt is a week where you are getting cut by 1,000 cuts every week. So, really happy to keep the money in the bank, the flexibility moving forward. As I mentioned, I'm not sure how well Buku Kamis is going to score against the gun forward line over there at the Cats. So happy to field Sexton. Really hoping Sexton can be that rookie for me that I really hope he can be, playing off half back. If he can maintain that role and give me over 60s on a regular basis, then hopefully over 70s as well would be better. Over 80s even better. So want some more out of him to really warrant my trust in him as a selection and get some DPP, get some good points, get some good money, all that jazz. Sam Darcy could clunk some marks, but I'm almost leaning more towards having a Cadman against the Suns. I just think that the Giants are so good. I can't see the Suns beating him in any facet of the game. And I think Cadman's too good of a player in the forward line for his direct matchup. He's going to be really hard because Hogan's going to be the number 1 forward. And I think Cadman's just going to be able to really capitalize on the backup option. Now, it looks like Witts might be available, but if Witts isn't in for whatever reason, then obviously like Cadman's chances of getting some more hitouts as a second ruckman against the Ned Moyle, for example. So could be a good option there. Hoping Cadman can do well. And then got the 2 doggies here. So that's that. Now, obviously, I can't use any loops. So whoever my captain's going to be, my vice captain has to be from one of those earlier games. Now, if you've got Max Gong, congratulations. He's a very prime VC option. Now, I can't do anything early other than Zach Butters on the Friday. And I think I might just have Captain Heaney for this week against the West Coast Eagles. Heaney's just an absolute ripping hot form. And those who captained him against the Tigers really enjoyed it, and I'm sure anyone who's going to captain him against West Coast should also hopefully enjoy it, and hopefully that's me, because that's where I'm going to go. I'm going to go Butters into Heaney, and fingers crossed, hopefully this all works out. Would be an absolute tragedy if Howes is dropped, but with all of the carnage happening in the back line, surely Howes maintains his spot in the side. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how my team looks like going into round 4. Hopefully we see a nice strong bounce back from my team, and that these premiums that were out for me can repay the faith and really pop off. And hopefully Jack Steele can continue pumping out around 120 every game. He's looking absolutely wonderful. He's spreading. He's dominating. Look, if Houston has to kick a goal after the siren to beat us, hey, at least I'm going to be enjoying a lot of scaling from that. And that, ladies and gentlemen, was my team review of what I did, how I did in round 3, as well as my plans going into this week and the trades I'm looking to do. Of course, these plans will be finalized in the Wednesday night video, where we go over our final trade plans as well as the captaincy options that are available to all of us. So if you like what you had to see here today, drop me a like and a subscription if you're new. Would greatly help the growth of our channel. And make sure you hit that notification bell, because as you guys should know by now, we are live every Monday at 7:30. Got the drive home every Thursdays at 5:30 as well. And we pump out videos on a regular basis. So guys, make sure you head on over and join also our Supercoach League if you haven't already. There are 3 wonderful prizes to be won, because here at the Centre Bounce, guys, we do the hard work, so you don't have to.